42 players. Probably haven't seen a squad this size since the 2005 Lions tour, maybe at international level. There are, Rory Scannell can consider himself a little bit unfortunate to not be in that squad, but 3 new caps or 3 uncapped players, 3 scrum halves who have an opportunity to really put the hand up in Conor Murray's absence. What was your own take on the squad, Murray?
Yeah, interesting to see those 3 uncapped players in there, but not really guys who are going to be new to Joe Schmidt's methods and his demands. Will Addison is obviously the one who's kind of come under the radar, I guess, a bit for most people. But his versatility is going to be really interesting moving forward in a World Cup year. He's played 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, all at professional level, either in the Premiership or Champions Cup. So he's improved himself in all of those positions. Irish qualified through his Fermanagh-born mother, so there's a pretty recent connection there as well. He has all the kind of traits that Joe Schmidt likes in terms of, that fight on the ground. He's really active when he gets tackled, hitting rucks, really good aerially, defensively pretty sound, although I think he missed a one-on-one tackle on Tuilagi in that first game in the Heineken Champions Cup, so I think a little bit of a work in progress there. He kind of looks like Jared Payne. I think a lot of people are making that comparison. I think it's fair. He looks like a really intelligent footballer, and he has a bit of something special in attack. He's beaten 11 defenders in the last couple of weekends. I think he has had 8 offloads as well, and you saw him creating that try for Dave Shanahan over in Paris against Racing 92. Lovely bit of footwork back onto the inside, fends Simon Zebo and offloads there as well. So it's also not kind of superfluous, the offloading. It's always effective and there's always a clear target. So I think Joe Schmidt will really appreciate that bit. Brings other players into good positions as well with his passing game, short and long. So very complete footballer. He's 26, so he has a very good pedigree, and I think Joe Schmidt has probably been working on this one for a couple of years. There was a bit of chat around him last time he was up for contracting at Sale. He stayed, but I wouldn't be surprised if they've been in a bit of contact. He's been in camp in Australia during the June tour for a week in Melbourne, also in August, so he's got a really good understanding of what's coming. Ross Byrne obviously did the June test tour with Ireland, very unlucky not to get off the bench in the third test just with the way the game worked out, but I think he's been consistently good for Leinster without being glamorous or flashy, calling play well, leading his team into good positions and invariably coming away with points. So I think he probably goes under the radar when you've got guys like Joey Carberry who can create something a little bit more eye-opening with ball in hand. And then the last guy is Sammy Arnold, probably the biggest surprise I guess in this squad, but you look back to the Six Nations campaign, he went away to Spain with them for that week-long training camp. He was there for the week of the France match. He spent a 2-day camp with them in the second kind of down week of that championship as well, so Schmidt's been working on him quite a bit. He's 22, so there's loads of scope for progress with him, but he's a very explosive athlete. I don't think the physical side of the game and stepping up is going to be, well, obviously it's big for any player, but I don't think it's going to be the biggest step for him. And he looks really coachable. He's improving all the his passing game, his vision, his defence has really progressed massively in the last year, and he's making really good reads. And just being aggressive there. He's a very aggressive player. Even when he scores a try, you saw him against Gloucester, he smashes the ball into the ground. He looks almost angry, but he plays with that kind of chip on his shoulder, that edge that certainly helps when you get to test level as well. So 3 guys who add something new, but are very aware of what's coming under Joe Schmidt, and you were never likely to see a great amount of experimentation. He's capped those 35 players since the last World Cup. He's done that. He's built that depth now, and it's just about kind of refining the squad. Loads of guys in here, but I don't think everyone will go. Obviously, everyone won't go to Chicago, and he'll rest a number of frontliners there. So it should be a pretty interesting team for that first test, I think, against Italy. Yeah,
and potential there, Andy, for the 3 new guys. Well, potential new caps to sort of get that baptism of fire in the first test, actually, because it is Chicago, and probably difficult to see some of those guys involved with Argentina and New Zealand to follow.
Yeah, well, I don't think they will be involved in those more significant games, but it's like I suppose a mini kind of induction program for guys who are kind of standing out in those Pro 14 games. I'd fully agree with Murray there on the Will Addison summary is an interesting one. I think when a coach comes, I think he's been kind of sought out by Joe. I think he's actually looked for him actively, as opposed to being passive and said, well, here's a guy who's happened to have played well enough to raise his head above the parapet. I think Joe actually went looking for Will Addison, and so it's a bit of a watch this space. I'd like to see. We're never going to know with Joe, but where does he feature in his plans? I think for a guy like Joe, who's got quite a lot of healthy resources at his disposal in the back row, to go and seek out a guy like Will Addison, and then for him to come in and make the impact he's made, the defenders beating the offloads, that kind of work. It's an interesting one. I think Joe might involve him more than we suspect.